am so happy that my colleagues could join me this morning and to talk about what we value most in our work, and that's helping students build community here at Duke. We should mention the priorities that our Vice President, Vice Provost, Mary Pat McMahon has set for the division. Those priorities are meaningful inclusion and always moving toward equity, making sure that our students are paying attention to good health and wellness and safety, and that there's always mutual respect, and that there's value. We find value in making sure that we deepen the curricular along with the co-curricular, and that there's always strategic collaboration in what we do. That's one of the things I'm proudest of that I find. And then that we have this continuous growth and skill development among our students. But before we talk about that, I should say that I am Soila Errol, Associate Vice President for Campus Life, and
Emily Dye. I'm the Director of Student Engagement for Leadership, so I oversee leadership programming on campus, our fraternities and sororities, a women's leadership initiative, those kinds of things.
And Manoda Yana, Student Development Coordinator in the Center for Multicultural Affairs. I oversee programming for the center, some trainings, and then I advise multicultural groups on campus.
And I'm Jordan Hale, and I work in New Student Orientation, and we do everything for the incoming first-year students, really from May through August, and also work with our pre-orientation programs.
So, if I were to say to you, what are some of the things you think students do on campus to build community, and what are the ways that we help them? What would you say?
Yeah, I think students build community through the student organizations on campus. Being in the Multicultural Center, they look into their affinity spaces to build community and find people that kind of look like them or have like-minded ideas or values. So their involvement starts with it starts a little bit during O Week, just trying to figure out their friend group and then meeting the different resources and offices and making those connections with their peers and staff members.
One of the things that I appreciate about Duke is the diversity of the student body, because having grown up a long time ago, the thing that I've come to understand is we are really enriched by our diversity. And so the fact that we have students coming from all over the country, all over the world, and coming to this place and finding ways to build community, I think is exciting. It's also challenging. And if you could think about any of the challenges, what would you say some of those challenges might be?
Yeah, I think in our onboarding experience and thinking about how we build incoming first-year student community, it can be difficult because we have students who are coming from rural North Carolina and from Tibet and from Russia and from California and New York. And so trying to get students to get to a place where they can see their commonalities in their experiences, but also honor the things that they're bringing to the table. Mm-hmm. It can be difficult, but it's something, a challenge that we really enjoy, and we use the priorities in terms of strategic collaboration and meaningful inclusion to think about how we do that, and who are partners on campus, and both within and outside of student affairs can help us kind of build those bridges for students.
The fact that students are coming from such a diverse set of communities means that, for some of them, this may be the first experience that they have with certain populations, that they've just not interacted with before. One of the things that I think we try to do, especially with programming for first-year students, is have them spend time thinking about what are the things that are important to me, and not and thinking about those as values or principles that maybe they brought with them from home, or maybe things that they're wanting to explore while they're here, so that those help guide what it is that they're doing here when they are looking for student organizations to join or other ways to get involved that's connected to those core principles, which hopefully can be commonalities that they find with people who may look or come from different communities than they do.
One of the things that I do every spring semester is I teach a course, Anthropology of Education, and I decided long ago when I was teaching this course that my course was going to meet in one of the cultural centers. And it's simply amazing. I always have 18 students, And they always say to me, if I didn't take this class, I would never have come into one of the cultural centers. So if I'm not African American, I didn't know that I could go to the Mary Lou Williams Center for Black Culture, which is always surprising to me because every Wednesday night there's jazz at the Mary Lou. What are some of the kinds of programs that you have in the Multicultural Center that are for all students?
I think all of our programming is for all students. One of our programs is our signature monthly dialogue series called Crossroads, where we explore different isms and talk about identities and just complicate that a little bit more in terms of identity development, but also like Thrive, which is like looking at how can, we thrive, emotionally, with wellness, financially, which is open to like all of our students. Common Ground is one of another of our signature programs, which is like a retreat where students like delve deep into like conversations about identity and just interrogating themselves a little bit more. And Unity Through Diversity, which is this year is its 20th anniversary, which is a forum for everyone to come together and talk about how diversity is our strength and how can we further that conversation about inclusion and moving towards equity.
So the ability to cross-pollinate, to think together is really one of the strengths of the campus. And so I think it's really a key point that you bring up in terms of how do we intersect with our identities and learn about each other's identities as we seek to be better, really citizens of the world. Good point.
I think that's a really good point. So, any closing ideas or that you would want parents to know about?
When you think about the principles that our vice president has set, when you think about community, I think one of the things that really comes to my brain is the intersection of community with wellness, and how so many students get to Duke and really want to find community because they know that that's what's going to help them be well, whether that be because they want to just have that that close-knit group of friends, or because those people become their accountability buddies when it comes to going to class or to the gym. And so I think the importance of students to be able to articulate early on what they need to be well, and then to seek out opportunities that are going to provide them with a network to support those things.
Self-care, but also community care, which is also important for some of the students that I work with. It's like it's okay to be in community, and sometimes self-care, not everyone can afford to do self-care, so trying to find that community and those people that can like really